Hello, I wanted to do a video like this a while ago, but it didn't feel right doing this when I hadn't been successful in getting a job. Now that I have been successful, I feel like it's more appropriate for me to make this video and hopefully it can help some other people out. So today I'm just going to give my quick advice and things that I have learnt while applying for jobs in the year 2024. I'd say overall it is a lot harder than it used to be. For example, one of the things I learned very quickly is that you need to tailor your resume and you need to tailor your portfolio if you're a creative for every single position you apply for. Previously, when I got my first design job, I actually only had 2 interviews at 2 different companies, and the second one was the place I ended up working at. It was very easy, and my portfolio then was majority print work and social media designs. So things like avatars, maybe a bit of YouTube thumbnails, some headers for people's Twitters and Facebook pages, and then just bits of digital and print in there, like business cards, a couple websites, a couple emails. It was very varied, right? And that landed me a just generalized graphic design role. The same thing again when I got my second graphic design role. My portfolio was very spaced out. It was a mixture of web, print, social, and ultimately, I think again, I went for 2 interviews, and the second one, I landed myself the job. This time, it took me 7 different interviews. So it's a lot harder. And yeah, I learned that now every company is basically looking for the perfect candidate. So you really do have to tailor things for every single company you apply for and every single interview you go for. A portfolio that's very varied might still be enough to get you through the door, but if you need to go to a second stage and a third stage interview and eventually they pit you against somebody else that has more experience or their portfolio is more specific to their niche, they're going to pick the other person over you. This happened to me. Quick example. I went for an interview at a company that makes wood paneling. They wanted a creative designer. All of my stuff for the past 6 years was web and print. The other guy came from a rival company to the one that I was applying for, and ultimately that's why he got the job, because he was a more appropriate candidate because all of his work was working on wood paneling, furniture, stuff like that, and it was just more suitable, right? So you really have to tailor it every single time. Otherwise, you're just going to get thrown into the no pile immediately, or you'll fall at the final hurdle when they pit you against somebody else which is more appropriate for the role. So that's the first thing that I very quickly learnt. Also, job vacancies are short right now. In the UK especially, I don't know about other countries, but I've done a little bit of research about employment in the UK, and at the moment there are 30,000 less job vacancies going in the UK in this quarter than the previous quarter. So 3 months ago there was 30,000 more jobs going. So it's like there's hardly any, well, I say hardly any, there's still there's still millions of jobs going, but relative to how many people live in the country, there isn't enough jobs to supply everybody who is looking, is basically what I'm saying here. It was revealed by LinkedIn that for every single job listing that was on their website, there was double the amount of people applying for them. So even if every single job listing on LinkedIn was to be filled, you'd still end up with millions of people that didn't have a job. So companies aren't hiring as much, and if they are looking for the perfect candidate who can just slot in, and you need to present yourself as that perfect candidate. The next thing is practice. It took me 7 different companies, applying at 7 different companies to land a job, and a total of around 11 interviews. And my first few were very shaky. It had been 6 years since I did any kind of interview, and I was very rocky. I felt like they went okay, but I know that there was a question or 2 that I wasn't 100% certain on. Things were happening like getting dry mouth when I was speaking because I was nervous. Silly things like not asking for a drink of water, which would have been really useful in some of the interviews. Just tiny mistakes. And again, not preparing a relevant portfolio and things like that, or not taking enough time to research the company before I went for an interview. If an interviewer is talking to you and they say the question, so what do you know about insert company name, and you don't really know anything, it looks bad. It's good to do like 30 to 40 minutes of research the day before or a couple days before, and even on your journey there, just researching about the company, finding out what they do, maybe how many people work there, maybe finding out how much money they made, this certain year, last year, whatever. Maybe find out who their biggest partners are, etc., etc. If they have multiple brands underneath, like a bigger umbrella brand, stuff like that, right? Just general knowledge about the company is very useful, and it shows that you have a genuine interest to learn about that company and get involved with like the culture and stuff like that, right? And not just be like a cog in a machine. The next thing I would say is that I quickly learned that I have to be multi-dimensional. And what I mean by this is, especially in creative areas now, or just like office jobs in general, you can't solely focus on one aspect of work. For example, if I was solely a print designer, I think I'd have a much harder time than I already did. Ultimately, I landed a job in a industry that is very new to me. I landed a job as a content creation and social media specialist. That is something that I have never done in a professional manner. It is things that I have self-taught or just picked up from bits and pieces at other companies I've worked at. For example, I've worked at a marketing agency before, but I've never in a professional manner been hired as a marketing advisor or a marketing specialist or anything like that. Even a junior, or like an assistant or anything. Just never done it. So self-teaching and just getting involved in other sectors is really important. If you're a graphic designer and you have, like I did, you have 6 to 8 years of experience, chances are you know enough about graphic design to get you by. Go and learn some other skills because they will be needed. Some of the most in-demand skills that companies want in 2024 involve things such as programming, software development, and just general IT skills. And then also sales and marketing skills are some of the most valuable skills to a company right now. So digital marketing, operation managers, sales assistants are some of the most sought after roles that a business is looking for right now. So if you are somebody who is, for example, like maybe you are highly skilled in marketing, or maybe you are a creative, maybe you are a programmer, if you learn one of the other skills, you're setting yourself up for just so much more success. So yeah, just learn as many things as you can. It is much better to be a jack of all trades, master of none, rather than a master of one thing, which could get replaced, or something a company already has, or something that is too much of a niche, right? You need to navigate these different spaces and find ways to have more than one skill, basically. Another thing is that I would say, obviously the world changed a lot in the past 4 or 5 years because of lockdown and things, and some people went into full-time remote work. I was one of those people. I would say that now a lot of companies are wanting to return to normality, and many are doing hybrid, but some also doing full-on in-office work again. If you are somebody who is fully remote, I'm sorry, but you might have to come to terms with going back into an office full-time. If a company asks you if you are happy to work in office or if you want to do remote, say you want to go in the office, even if it's a lie. It's most likely a lie. But you have to say you're willing to go into the office, because 9 times out of 10, if Jimmy, who is also applying, says he's willing to go into the office every single day and you say you're not, they're going to think, well, he's got more collaboration, he's got more teamwork skills, he's got better communication, he's more reliable, so we're going to pick Jimmy and not you. If your name is Jimmy, then that doesn't apply to you. Just a different Jimmy. They'll pick someone else. So yeah, you need to be willing to go back into the office. You need to be willing to actually go into a physical place of work, communicate with people, get to know the team, collaborate with them, be able to physically sit down at someone's desk and point to the screen, even though that's really frustrating sometimes. So many nightmare stories of people physically coming and sitting next to me and tapping on my screen. It's very annoying. But you have to be willing to go back to that way of working. So yeah, that's it. I think companies really appreciate people who want to get close to the company, be collaborative, especially if it is like a hybrid setup where you are doing some days at home, some days in the office, and somebody who is very focused on communication and building relationships inside a company is very important right now. Another thing, I don't know if this helped me, but I assume it did. If you're somebody who has had long tenures at a company, use it to your advantage. For example, if you did work somewhere previously for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, mention that. Say that the reason you didn't work there anymore is because you were made redundant, like me. If it wasn't, then I don't know, maybe don't lie. But if that's your situation, if you didn't leave a company on your own accord, if you were made redundant, if you were laid off or something, that's a good thing. It looks much worse if you bunny hop between companies every 2 to 3 years. It used to be something that's really popular. I don't know if it still is now, but 3 years ago, it was extremely popular to join a company as an entry-level position, get 2 to 3 years of experience, and then just bunny hop your way up the ladder. So you'd join somewhere as, let's use design as an example because that's the industry I was in. Super common for somebody to join a company as a junior designer, 2 years later, leave, join somewhere else, and that new position comes with an updated job title, for example, going from junior to just graphic designer. 2 years later, bunny hop to another company that ups you to a middleweight, and then 2 or 3 years later, go to somewhere else that puts you as the lead. That used to be the way to do it. You just climb the ladder by hopping between companies that give you a new job title when you join. That looks bad now. Companies really value someone who's going to stick around for a long time and somebody who really wants to be part of the company, part of the culture, and isn't just going to use them as a stepping stone to, progress in their own career. Finally, I don't want to make this too long. I think I roughly said about 10 minutes for this video, so I'll end off here. The final thing is don't give up. There were many times where I made videos and even just said to myself that I'm tired and I feel like giving up. And there were weeks even where I didn't apply for a single job. There were some weeks in which I was so depressed, so just, I felt like there was no hope, that I would just sit in bed and do nothing. And that is something that I never really told anyone. I would ultimately then think to myself, oh shit, I need to mass apply. So I would then go and apply for 30 to 40 jobs in 1 week to kind of even things out. But there were many times, especially after getting told no from somebody, where I would just shut off completely. Mental health struggles, especially for men during getting a new job, that is a time where men's mental health suffers the most. Statistically, the thing that puts men over the edge is losing a job and struggling to find a new one. So I would just say that it's not, it's not you a lot of the time. Companies are just looking for the perfect candidate. There is still hope. You just have to keep going for it. You will get a job eventually. You just have to keep pushing through. If you quit, you're never going to get there. It's never going to happen. If you apply for 3 or 4 months and you get to the stage where you feel like, God damn, there's no hope, it's not happening, and you give up, well then, I'm sorry, but to put it bluntly, nobody else is going to do it for you. Okay? No one's going to come along and just hand you a job. You just have to push through. You have to keep going. And in the end, it'll all work out and you'll get one. But don't ever blame yourself. Don't ever think that you're not good enough to be at a company, etc. A lot of the times, companies probably make the wrong decision, and you probably would have been a great fit for that company, and you could have brought them much value. I still believe that I am a much better fit for companies that hired somebody else, but maybe I just didn't, on the day, didn't present myself in a way which made them believe that. You should learn from each one, get better as you go, and eventually you'll get there. Something you'll notice, I should have mentioned this earlier, but something you'll notice in interviews is a lot of the same questions get asked. So if you ever don't have an answer for one, make sure you do the next time around. And if you notice the same questions being asked again and again and again, you already know which answers to give. If you're confident that your answer previously was good. And also, ask. If you get told no, ask somebody why. I only did it a couple times, but if you're ever feeling down or you're doubting yourself, sometimes a company might tell you exactly why somebody else was hired over you, and it's good to just ask to get that bit of feedback. Even ask while you're there. If you feel like they might not respond to an email afterwards or something, when the interview's done, just before you leave the building, just ask. Say to them, is there anything that stood out? Is there anything I did well? Is there anything that you think I could have done better? They're human beings at the end of the day, and they probably will tell you. To anyone that's still looking for a job, I hope you get one. I feel extremely lucky to be in the situation that I am right now. I'm looking forward to starting my new position, and I hope everyone who's watching this that is unemployed right now gets themselves a position in the coming days, weeks, months, whenever it's needed. That's gonna be it. I hope this helps some people and kind of reinforces things for you. I'm not sure how much useful information I actually dropped, and this was very specific to creative industries, marketing, and tech in the UK. This might not have been, this definitely wouldn't have been relevant to everyone because people live in different countries and in different sectors, etc. But even if I can help out 20, 30 people from this video, that's still good. So yeah, all right. Thanks for watching this video if you did, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.